Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Why Bother podcast. I'm Michelle.
I'm Phil.
This is episode, I believe it's 8.
Yeah, we'll say it's 8.
No, I really believe it's 8. Let me preface this podcast by addressing something. Joe Rogan. I'm just going to put a little plea out to please stop calling us. If he wants to be on our podcast, we will get to you, Joe. We will. I promise.
We have many things to do. We're very busy, and we just don't have time for you right now. I'm sorry.
Not right now. Not right now. Although we will. Eventually. Okay, so I guess we'll go right into the news. For new news this time, I actually, I didn't really put anything down because let's face it, 2020 is such a shit show. What the hell else am I going to put to beat it? I mean, there's fires burning in California again. I'll throw that out there, and COVID is getting worse again, and it's not a second wave. It's still the first wave. It's just going back and forth between the U.S., and it's getting worse. Hurricane, I don't know. It's a really weird name. It looks like Isaias, but I think they're pronouncing it like Isaias or something weird, whatever. But I think that turned to a tropical storm. That was supposed to hit the east coast of Florida and then come up. The models showed come up on the east coast, like the Carolinas, and then us, I guess, even though we dip in a little. We're from New Jersey. I don't know. So I don't think we have to worry about that one too much unless it's just remnants of rain, which is fine. But there are others out there in the ocean. So, anyway, what am I going to say for new news? Everybody knows what the hell is going on. It's crazy. Okay, so old news. I'm not sure if anyone remembers this. It depends on your age. Because this happened back in the 1980s. It was a little girl. She was 18 months old. Her name was Jessica McClure, and it was in Midland, Texas. And she fell into her aunt's backyard. Her mother was babysitting children, including her, in her aunt's backyard, and again, she was 18 months. But here's what I wanted to ask you. 18 months old. So you can picture kind of how big she would be, right?
Yeah.
Or small, however you want to look at it. But apparently and I remember watching this when I was 10. It happened in 1987, October 14th, 1987. She fell down an 8-inch well. So I'm trying to measure my hands, 18 months old. Oh, okay. 8-inch well. And it just the logic isn't there for me.
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely.
Now it is true. It is a true story. It's absolutely a true story. And back when I was 10 in 1987, when it came out, that there was a movie that came out about it, and it was back before there were 1,000 billion channels on TV. So everyone would tune in to 3, 6, 10, 17,
Mm-hmm.
And it was on one of them channels where they did the 3-parter. So it would be they would show you the first part of the movie one night, and then, second, and then third. So it'd be over a few nights. And I remember watching it. I know it's a true story. I absolutely know. But you're better at math than I am.
Well, yeah, the math doesn't work out. But one thing you have to consider, you're recalling this from a movie, and they do dramatize things. So it's possible that the well was, a foot and a half across or something like that, and they said it was 8 inches in the movie. They do that sort of thing. So,
and that would be a wonderful response if I didn't research it. Like, it's all over. It absolutely, she was absolutely 18 months old, and it was absolutely an 8-inch well.
Well, I don't know what you mean by research. Did you look at the actual police reports?
No,
That's the only
looked
thing
at
I would
everything
believe.
that covered it. I mean, I asked the police for the reports. Is that what you want to hear?
Yes.
Okay. And
yes, definitely.
They said they're on their way.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get them. But right now, I'm going to assume that everything that I did, research-wise, I'm going to assume that was the case.
I think it's more. I don't see it happening. An 18-month-old is going to be a foot across at least. Falling down an 8-inch well is just an impossibility, unless the well.
I wouldn't say impossible.
Unless the well had some kind of, unless it was wider at the top and kind of like funnel shaped. I don't see how it's possible.
I understand that also, but I believe that it was flush with the ground. I don't know. All I know is it's I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but it absolutely happened. And it took so it happened October 14th, 1987, and between that day and October 16th, the rescuers worked 56 hours, day and night, to free her, and to free her from the 8-inch well casing 22 feet below the ground. I know, like, when they had so many people showing up, I remember in the movie, where there were coming up with all these, like, crackpots would show up and be like, well, we can do this to get her out and that. And there was a lot of machinery to, like, dig the dirt around it and then go in the well and, to, like, drill through the well above her or below her to make sure, obviously, they didn't hit her. But every time, like, the machinery would come on the ground, she would slip down further. So, but they did get her out, and she is now a special needs teacher's aide. She's very happy. She's married. She didn't even tell her husband who she really was, and he had no idea for a while they were dating, until his sister actually told him who she was. Like, he had no clue, and people still call her Baby Jessica. But
now this woman has a dog named Lassie, and he had no idea that she fell down a well previously.
No, but to be fair, the name of the child was not Timmy. It was Jessica.
Okay.
So, I mean, you get it.
Yes.
Okay. That's old news. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that, but it's a movie and a situation that I remember from when I was younger. So, okay, before we go any further, and again, I'm an idiot. There's so much I don't know, but I did tell you I quit school in the 3rd grade, so.
Very funny.
But, yeah, so there are a lot of things I don't know, but I wanted to ask you, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys follow Andrew Schultz or not. I know Phil has seen a couple of his things that I've showed him, but he runs this podcast, okay? You listening?
Yeah.
Okay, he runs this podcast, and it's called Flagrant or Flagrancy. We'll get back to that in a minute. But so the other day I was watching him, and well, the podcast, not him. I'm not, a creep or a stalker. But so I was watching his podcast, and he said he had just found out not long ago what the word benevolent means, and so now he's using it more because he knows what it means. So again, can't expect much from me. I again quit after the 3rd grade. So what does benevolent mean?
It just means kind and good-natured, able to, well, not able to, but willing to help somebody out. Somebody who is nice and good, in other words.
So I'm benevolent.
That you are.
Especially when it comes to animals.
Yeah, very much so.
Aw. Okay, now on the thing I said we'd come back to, what the hell does flagrant mean?
That is, that's just kind of way out there. In other words, it's like textbook example except beyond. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like
by the book?
No, it's like if you flagrantly disobey orders, you're doing it in an extreme manner.
Oh, okay. So kind of like an asshole.
Yes.
In that case, that you did, in that example.
And yeah.
Am I sorry guys, I've been drinking. Flagrantly benevolent?
Well, you really wouldn't use flagrant that way. You would only use it in kind of
so
a
it's used in a negative way. Okay.
Connotation.
Okay. Now I remember the other night we were walking the dog, and I remember looking up to the sky, and you know how I am with space and time travel, and I'm fascinated with all that, as well as many other things that most people don't give a shit about. Some do. But we were looking up at the sky. It was nighttime, and we saw 2 stars. One was way brighter than the other, so one actually might have been a planet. Venus, I think. It shines really bright. So we're looking up at the stars, and I told you that it was kind of like time travel, because we're looking at the stars, but the light that we're seeing from them stars could have burned out, and them stars could have died a long time ago.
Yeah.
However long it takes, it has to do with the light year. However long it takes that light to travel here, that's how long ago it could have died, right?
Yeah.
And our sun, I think the light year for our sun is like a little over 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's light minutes at that point.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, light minutes. So, because it's a little over 8 minutes that it takes. So while we're looking at the sun, we're actually looking at it 8 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So that's, in a subtle way, it's like time travel.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating. I really do. Okay. While we're on the subject, do you know what space... All right, you know it has no... You can't hear anything in space.
Yeah, because there's no medium for the sound waves to travel through.
Right. Okay, so, which is very weird to me because, like, shit blows up in space all the time.
Well, in science fiction, which I love Star Trek, I'm guilty of having this as well, because I love Star Trek, but in science fiction, things blow up in space. But if you're looking at something... If you were on the ship and it was blowing up, you would actually hear it blow up because there's air in the ship to support your life. But if you're outside of the ship...
Like an astronaut.
Or if you're in a different ship, watching it from far away, you do not hear any explode. You don't hear anything. There's no air in space to transmit the sound.
All right. The weird thing that you just said that I'm wondering is, wondering about, is that you said, like, you acted like nothing blows up in space.
Well, things
shit blows up all the time. Stars explode and
yes, but there's no sound from them.
Whiz by. Right, that's what I'm saying, though. That's just... I mean, I get it that there are no sound waves in space.
Yeah.
But you said you would hear it on a ship because inside the ship, there would be sound waves.
Yes, if you were inside a ship that was in the process of blowing up. So
inside of the space suit that you're in, there would not be any sound waves? Like
no,
there would just an astronaut?
No, you would if you're on the ship, whether you're in a spacesuit or not. If you're on the ship, the sound waves are going to transmit it to the fabric of the spacesuit, and the spacesuit fabric is going to transmit it to the airwaves or to the air inside your spacesuit,
which goes to your ears.
Yes,
and
you
your
would hear it.
So then, another question for that would be, how the fuck do they know that there's no sound? It's kind of like if a tree falls in the forest, no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Right.
Well, nobody really knows. I believe it does, but nobody knows. But
well, I argue no, it does not.
Well, I argue yes, it does.
If a tree falls in the woods and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make the pressure waves that comprise sound? Absolutely, I feel that it does.
But if no person, however, if the person is the one, or the alive thing is the one that takes in those sound waves,
yes, they
uses them
you
as
don't have
sound.
Hearing without an observer.
I got it. I got what you're saying. So the same thing with space, then.
Yes, sort of. That's a slightly different phenomena of space, because there's literally nothing for the sound to travel through.
Okay. Now here's something I actually know. I don't know if you know. Do you know space has a smell? Do you know that?
I don't think that it does.
Okay.
I don't care who says what.
Oh my God. Not even if it's astrophysicists and astronauts who've been in space. You don't care?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, well, I heard completely different. And I love you, but I am going to put my trust in the scientists, okay? And the astronauts. Space smells like gunpowder. I'm just saying.
Okay, so if there is no air in space and the particles of anything are way far apart, spread way apart, and there's not really any that are there to gather onto any particular substance, then I would say that space does not have a smell. It's not possible. The upper atmosphere may have a smell.
Space smells like gunpowder.
Okay.
Because, again, I love you, but you don't fucking... You know a lot. You don't know everything. And I am definitely...
I know what I know, and I have my opinions as to what my opinions are. The people that you're listening to want to get on TV and sell books and do this and do that. And they have to say something, just like we have to say something.
Okay, so they have to say that space smells like something, even though you can't hear anything?
No, they don't. They don't have to say that, but they do because it sells books and it
I understand.
Sells TV
I get all that. You think everyone has an ulterior motive, and many people,
no, they don't. Their ulterior motive is self-interest. Their ulterior motive is being interesting and selling themselves, which is fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. No, I'm just saying I don't believe space smells like anything.
Okay,
maybe the upper atmosphere does. Because there's actually stuff there. Maybe, the space itself does not smell like anything. Sorry.
Okay, let's agree to disagree. Let's say that you think you're right and I know I'm right. How's that?
Works for me.
Okay. That was a fucking great answer. I love you. So I wanted to do some fun facts, and I wanted to see if you know any of these. There's two. Polar bears. Their skin is black. Did you know that?
Yes, I've heard that before.
Okay. Did you also know that the white fur on them, the white hair, is not white?
No.
It is transparent and hollow. And
Well, if it's transparent, wouldn't they appear black?
no, I know what you're saying, and that does make sense, but for some reason, and you can look
I
it up.
guess it's a reflection.
Yeah, of the light. For some reason,
Yeah.
the way that the light hits it, it changes it, and it looks white, but it's actually transparent and it's hollow for some reason. I think that's pretty interesting. You don't believe me, do you?
No, that's fine.
Is that a yes, I believe you, or
Sure, why
I'm
not?
going to look it up as soon as this podcast is over because I have to be right about everything.
No, I don't have to be right about everything. And that biology, things like that, I don't really care that much.
Okay, well, I care. I like to be right sometimes.
Okay, then you're right.
Oh, you're such a jerk off. I am right, actually. Okay, so the other thing, and actually, I heard Ricky Gervais say this, and I never thought this before. I never thought about it, and it's such a small detail, but it's true. Neil Armstrong was the one who landed on the moon and said, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind."
Yes.
Okay, he actually missaid that if you think about it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I believe the line was supposed to be one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind.
Wow.
And, that wasn't something he came up with. They had, people at NASA.
Oh, I'm
writing
sure.
things.
So
Yeah.
I think he just messed it up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but do you know why it's different? Do you know why it makes more sense the way he should have said it?
Because he's a singular person. So that it works either way, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, I think I like the way he said it better than what was
because
written.
I think that's just because you're used to it and that's how it was said. And that's what we all grew up hearing. That's probably why. But it makes more sense the other way.
You know what? Having analyzed it, I'm going to go with you on that. There, you get to be 100% right.
Now, say you could have stopped with, "I'm going to go with you there" on that, and I would have felt much better. But you had to throw in "there, you get to be right," and now I don't feel it anymore.
Okay.
I don't feel the love, Philip. I don't feel the love. Okay. And I have a riddle for you.
Okay.
So now I get to laugh at you, okay?
Okay.
All right. What disappears as soon as you say its name?
What disappears as soon as you say it's what?
Name.
As soon as you say its name.
What disappears as soon as you say its name?
I don't know.
No thoughts? No guesses?
Nope, no guesses.
All right, because this is going to be 5 out of 5, or you're going for 0 out of 5 on this one, on the riddles. Like,
Yeah.
0 right out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
You sure you want me to tell you final answer?
Yes.
Okay, what disappears as soon as you say its name? Silence.
Aha.
It's true.
Yes, it is true.
But what?
But nothing.
You don't agree with it.
No, I agree with it.
You don't like that riddle.
I don't like any of the riddles. Riddles are dumb as far as I'm concerned.
Why? Because you don't get them right?
Well, partially yes, I guess, but they're always trick questions, and that's of course the point.
I think, yeah, it is the point. It's a riddle.
Yes.
The point is that, yeah, it's going to be a trick question.
I'm more interested in facts and hard data than I am in trick questions.
Fact is, you suck at riddles.
That is absolutely 100% a fact, yes.
I think it's a little more than 100%, but okay. All right, there's definitely a reason we play that corny ass, old ass song. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about, like, I know the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. I know, again, I quit after the 3rd grade, so you can't really hold this against me, but I don't know the whole Constitution. I know some of it. And I know that there are amendments that are made. And I used to think before that there were only 17, but I think actually it's more like, how many?
I can't remember exactly. It could be as high as 39. For some reason, 39 sticks in my head, but something tells me that's too high, and it might only be like mid-20s or something like that. There's definitely a lot more than 17.
Right. Well, I used to think there were 17. I know there were more. I just didn't know how many. One of them is the prohibition about drinking. Like, that used to be illegal in the 30s.
And the 20s.
And then they changed that to let's party, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. And slavery, because they used to think that African Americans were 3/5 of a man, which is terrible. So that obviously, thankfully, changed. I think the right to bear arms is an amendment. Yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's the Second Amendment.
Oh, and the first is freedom of speech, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one, freedom of speech. I don't know many more. Do you? I know that you have to know more than I do. You obviously aren't going to know them all, but can you think of another I haven't said?
Well, a weird one is the Third Amendment, which is the right not to have soldiers quartered in your property, which we got all pissed off during, I guess, the French and Indian War, which was actually before the Revolution. We got all pissed off because the British wanted to put soldiers put them in with families.
It's okay,
which we were actually fighting along with the British.
They wanted to put soldiers in with families. I don't
the soldiers, instead of building a campsite for the soldiers, they put soldiers in with families.
You're right, this is a weird one. Go ahead.
Yes, and they were actually... we were fighting along with the British at that point, believe it or not, even though we would fight them against them a few years later. We were fighting with the British against the French, who were trying to take over some of the land.
Does this have anything to do with the Boston Tea Party?
No, this is before the Boston Tea Party.
Okay. Can you, not to cut you off or be a dick, but can you tell me one I actually understand? Because I don't get that.
All right, so you had an amendment to create prohibition, an amendment to get rid of prohibition, an amendment to give women the right to vote, an amendment to give blacks the right to vote, an amendment to create the presidential line of succession in case the president dies, or the various other people in the government dies.
Okay, it used to be that before they amended it, it used to be a president could serve as many terms as
yes, that's another one.
And then they amended it to 2 terms at the most, which is 8 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And that came about after FDR was elected 3 terms.
Really?
Yes.
He had 3 terms. He had 12 years?
He had 12 years.
Wow. I know a president that's trying to take over for good, but I won't say any names. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to ask you was, you know the song, I wear my sunglasses at night?
Yes.
Okay. Who sings that?
I cannot remember at all.
Really?
Yes.
Was that a one-hit wonder?
Yes. Which is why I can't remember his name.
Okay, that's why I asked, because usually you're very, very good at knowing who sings what. Okay, so Mr. Coors. Something Coors?
Mr. Coors? It doesn't ring a bell.
Something Coors. Something like that. But anyway, there is, and I'm not saying this to you because I know you don't care, but there is a girl, two sisters. One's the older one, her name is Lennon, like John Lennon.
And McCartney was the other one?
No. The other one was Maisey. And Lennon and Maisey, again, it's two sisters who redid the song. Their parents, I think, are like musicians too, and used to be kind of famous or something. And so the little girl, at least the one little girl can play guitar, the older one. Mm-hmm. And these two, they redid the song. I wear my sunglasses at night. They changed the whole thing, and it sounds amazing. It's way better than Sorry to whoever the one-hit wonder was, but it's really, really good. And I wanted to just play a clip of that so that people... And actually, after that, they did some other songs, too. Mm-hmm. And then they wound up being one... Do you know what CMT is? The country music...
Yes, I've heard of that.
Television, whatever. Okay, well, they have shows on there sometimes. And, I mean, we don't use cable. We watch Netflix and our phones and stuff like that. But a long time ago, when we did have cable, I noticed that they were on CMT, which has some shows. And they were on one of these country shows, and they did some singing on there and stuff like that. I never watched it. Or maybe I saw a half episode or something. But anyway, the point being that they redid the song, and it sounds amazing, and here's a clip.
I wear my sunglasses at night so I can watch you weave and breathe your storylines. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can keep track of the visions in my eyes. She's deceiving me, cuts my security. She's got control of me. I turn to her and say, don't touch your plate on the guy's shades, or no. Don't masquerade with the guy's shades, or no. I can't believe it, you got me with the guy's shades, or no. Whoa, I wear my sunglasses at night so I can get my name where you collect your claim.
And I think that that's an amazing job that they do. It is good. It's really good. And again, they've done covers to other songs too, and they're really good. So I guess that's it, other than the phone number and email we should do. Yeah. The phone number, if you guys want to contact us, we'll put your voice, if you leave us a message on the podcast, and answer whatever question you have. If you want to text or send an email, any question, comment, story, advice, anything. The phone number is 856-882-9670, and the email
is Y, the letter Y, that is, .bother.pod@gmail.com.
And I think the only thing else left to say is, Joe Rogan, God, stop blowing up my phone. We will get you on the podcast, I promise.
And that goes for Michelle Obama, too. You need to quit it, both of you.
Is she calling your phone again?
Yes, she is.
All right. Well, we can deal with it. They don't need to hear our problems. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We love you, and we will talk to you on Wednesday night. Thank you and bye.
Good night, everyone.